10. Dumbcane. This one sits in people's living rooms as a completely ordinary houseplant. It's cheap, easy to grow, and sold in almost every garden center on the planet, usually marketed as a low-maintenance way to make an apartment feel a little more alive. Bite into it, though, and your mouth starts to blister almost instantly. Your throat swells shut. Breathing gets harder. Talking becomes physically impossible. That's actually where the name comes from. It leaves you speechless, sometimes for weeks. The damage comes from tiny needle-shaped crystals inside the plant, made of calcium oxalate, that stab straight into your tissue like microscopic glass shards. Some botanists believe the plant also releases enzymes that make the swelling and burning even worse once those crystals break the skin. In rare cases, the swelling spreads far enough to block the airway completely. Children and curious pets are especially at risk, since the plant looks harmless, even inviting, with its broad glossy leaves. And people still keep this thing on their windowsill, 3 feet from their kids and pets, without a second thought. 9. Foxglove. Tall, purple, beautiful, also loaded with a toxin called digitoxin. In tiny, carefully measured doses, doctors actually use it to treat failing hearts, a medicine derived from this same flower that grows wild along countryside roads across Europe. Eat the raw plant, though, and your own heart turns against you. Vomiting, confusion, hallucinations, a pulse that refuses to stay steady, racing one moment and stalling the next. It also warps your vision, drenching everything you look at in a sickly yellow tint. Some historians think Vincent van Gogh may have experienced that exact side effect from medication he was given for his seizures, right around the time he painted his most famous yellow-drenched works. Nobody can prove it for certain, but it's a strange thought. A flower that might have quietly reshaped the history of art from the inside of one painter's bloodstream. Even brushing against the plant while gardening, then touching your eyes or mouth, has been enough to trigger symptoms in sensitive people. 8. The Pong-Pong Tree. Found scattered across Southeast Asia and the Pacific Islands, and from a distance, it looks completely ordinary, almost boring. One single seed, though, is all it takes to kill a fully grown adult. Locals call it the suicide tree, and they don't say that lightly. The seed contains a compound called cerberin, which hijacks your heart's rhythm within just a few hours. Stomach pain first. Then your heart simply stops keeping time, like a clock quietly running out of battery. By accident, it's thankfully rare. The seed hides inside a tough, bitter outer husk that isn't easy to break into. On purpose, though, this single tree species is believed to have ended more lives across Asia than almost any other plant on this entire list. 7. Oleander. Ancient writers already knew this one was dangerous, almost 2,000 years ago. The Roman scholar Pliny the Elder even wrote about it, claiming it could cure snake bites. It cannot. Eat it after a snake bite, and you'll die faster, not slower. The toxin inside, called oleandrin, attacks your heart directly, in almost the exact same way Foxglove does. Nausea, dizziness, blurred vision, a pulse that stutters and skips like a scratched record. Despite all that, it's still planted as decoration along highways, parking lots, and gardens across warm climates worldwide, precisely because it's cheap, hardy, and pretty. Millions of people drive past a proven killer every single day and never think twice about it. Even the smoke from burning oleander branches has reportedly caused poisoning in people standing nearby, which means you don't always need to eat it to end up in a hospital bed. A quick gut check before we go further. 7 plants down, and every single one of them is probably growing within a mile of where you're sitting right now. Some in a neighbor's yard. Some in a park you've walked through 100 times. Keep that thought in your head, because the next 3 get significantly worse. 6. Wolfsbane, also known as monk's hood. You might recognize this one from a certain wizarding school's potions class. In the books, it's just a tricky exam question thrown at a nervous student. In real life, it's one of the most poisonous plants ever documented by scientists. Touch the roots with bare skin, and numbness spreads within minutes, sometimes before you even notice. Eat it, and you get muscle weakness, a collapsing heart rate, and total organ failure in a matter of hours. Even in fully equipped modern hospitals, roughly 6 out of every 100 poisoning cases still end in death. Ancient warriors reportedly coated their arrow tips with it before battle. Some weapons, apparently, never really go out of style. 5. Hemlock. This is the plant that killed one of history's most famous philosophers. Socrates was forced to drink a hemlock-based poison as his official execution, and the plant hasn't gotten any gentler in the 24th century since. The real danger today is that it looks almost identical to wild carrots, parsnip, and celery. People have picked it by accident while foraging, genuinely believing it was dinner. The poison, called conian, shuts down your nervous system piece by piece. Trembling first, then paralysis, spreading slowly upward through the body. Then your lungs simply forget how to work at all. Get on a ventilator in time, and there's a real chance you survive. Socrates, obviously, didn't have that option available to him. Ancient accounts describe him staying calm and talking with his students right up until his legs went numb, which somehow makes the whole story even harder to shake. 4. Deadly Nightshade. The berries look almost exactly like ordinary blueberries. That one small detail alone has probably killed more people than anything else on this entire list. Just 10 to 20 berries is enough to kill a fully grown adult, and children have died from even fewer, drawn in by the sweet taste that masks what's coming. Two separate toxins work together inside the plant, attacking your nervous system from opposite directions at the same time. Historically, there are accounts of assassins who reportedly built up a tolerance to the poison over months or years, then used the same berries to kill their targets while staying completely immune themselves. A dangerous berry, dressed up as a harmless snack, that quietly shaped the history of political murder across entire empires. 3. The Rosary Pea. Small, bright red, almost pretty enough to string onto a necklace or bracelet. People genuinely have worn it as jewelry. Some of them died because of it. 1/10 of a single milligram of the compound inside, called abrin, can kill a fully grown person. There is no known antidote. None at all. Even today, it shuts your cells down at the most basic possible level, stopping them from producing the proteins they need just to stay alive. Internal bleeding follows within a day. Then, organ failure. Then it's over. One seed, strung casually onto a bracelet. That's genuinely all it takes to end a life. 2. White snakeroot. This one doesn't even need to touch you directly to kill you. Across the American Midwest in the 1800s, people quietly started dying with no obvious cause. It took years and a lot of confused doctors before anyone figured out why. Cows were grazing on white snakeroot in their pastures, and the plant's toxin passed straight into their milk. Families drinking that milk got sick and died without ever touching the plant themselves, not even once. This exact chain of events is how Abraham Lincoln's own mother, Nancy Lincoln, died back in 1818, when Lincoln himself was just 9 years old. A quiet shrub with small white flowers, hiding in a random pasture, that helped shape the childhood of one of America's most consequential presidents. It took a doctor named Anna Bixby, working alongside a local Shawnee woman, to finally trace the deaths back to the plant, decades before anyone officially wrote the discovery down in medical textbooks. 1. The Manchineel Tree. Locals call it the little apple of death. Scientists sometimes call it, only half-jokingly, the most dangerous tree on the entire planet. You don't even have to eat it to get seriously hurt. Rain falling through its leaves picks up traces of sap on the way down, and that sap will blister bare skin on contact. Simply standing underneath it during a rainstorm is enough to burn you, without ever touching a single leaf yourself. Burn its wood for firewood, and the smoke alone is strong enough to blind you. Eat the small green fruit, and your mouth and throat swell shut within minutes. It's rare and officially endangered, found mostly along quiet beaches across the Caribbean and Central America, often marked today with a painted red band or a small warning sign nailed to the trunk, which somehow makes it worse. A perfect, postcard-ready tropical beach, and the only shade available is actively trying to kill you. 10 plants. All of them still growing right now, somewhere in the world, at this exact moment. Some in gardens, some in living rooms. One of them, quite possibly, on a beach you'll visit someday. Nature doesn't need fangs or claws or venom to be lethal. Sometimes all it needs is patience, good camouflage, and a strong enough reason for you to lean in a little closer. If you want the next list to cover the deadliest animals on Earth, or the deadliest fungi, let me know in the comments below. And if any of these are growing in your own backyard right now, maybe don't go looking for the extra proof.